If you want to follow along, I recommend this dbfiddle website. It's a free website and you don't even need to create an account. When you open the website, just click on SQL Server. That's the flavor of SQL that we're using for these videos. And make sure you choose AdventureWorks as the database. That will give you access to all of the same sample data that I'm using in these videos. Let's talk about sorting in SQL. So just as a quick reminder, we've already seen select. This is how we tell SQL the output that we want to see. We've seen from. This is how we tell SQL which table we want to be getting our data from, which file we want to be opening. And we've seen where we can filter a table based on some values. We know that every time we write some SQL, we then need to run it to get an output. Now, one of the things that you may have noticed is that the order of the rows doesn't always match the order that I've got on the left-hand side. The order of the rows in SQL can be whatever it wants. One of the things about SQL is that it will move around the rows as much, as freely as it wants to, and then it will just give you them however they end up, unless you specifically ask for them in a certain order. So when I do this one, when I select by the department ID and the name, you'll see that for whatever reason it actually puts them in alphabetical order, not in the department ID order. So how can we change that? Well, let's replicate what's happening on the right hand side with Excel. How do we sort with Excel? How do we put these in alphabetical order? We would just click on the drop down next to name and we'd sort A to Z. Now the order on the left is the same as the order on the right. So let's undo this one. We'll remove the sort. How would we make the right now the same as the left? How would we make the SQL order by the department ID, sort the output by the department ID? We're going to use two special words that always come together. It's going to be order by. This is how we tell SQL that we want to sort our data. What we want to order by, what we want to sort by, to make it the same as the left, is the department ID, which by default is ascending order, or the order by default is ascending order. So I've updated my code. Let me run it. Now our output is in the order that we expect. It's ordered by the department ID just like it is in the underlying table. If we wanted to order in the opposite direction, this is currently ascending. If we wanted to order in descending, let's do this in Excel first. Descending, in terms of numbers, is largest to smallest. If we want to do that in SQL, after the column, we write DESC, short for descending. Let me rerun this, and let's put our data in the opposite order. What if we want to sort by multiple columns? Let's say we want to sort by the group name first and then by the department ID. Well, to do this with Excel, when we want more than just one column that we're sorting by, we want the customized sort. We're going to sort first by the group name in ascending order. Then we're going to sort by the department ID, also in ascending order. There we go. How would we do this with SQL? Well, we still want the order by clause. The first column that we're going to group by is the group name. And since we're ordering by the group name, let's also include it in the select. And secondly, we want to order by the department ID. So all we need to do is list the columns in that order, just like we list columns in the select clause. We just need to make sure that they're separated by commas. So I've written my code. Let me run it. Now we can see that this is the same as on the left. Of course, we've put the group name before the department ID, but all the rows are in the same order. What if we want to do the group name in descending order and the department ID in ascending order? Well, we'd only put the DESC text after group name. And it's the same with Excel. We'd go back into the customize sort. We'll just make sure that the group name is sort descending, but department ID is left alone. The last thing to cover is that the order by clause is a bit special. So let's just remind ourselves what we did with the where clause. We did where something like department ID is less than or equal to 5. One thing that we didn't see was what happens if we alias a column, rename a column. Let's say I rename department ID to ID in my output. I'll run this just to make sure it works. We just have ID now instead of department ID. Well, since I've renamed department ID to ID, could I also use ID down the bottom here? No. That's one of the, and you'll see this with most of the SQL that we're going to cover. In most of the places you have to use the original name, not the rename, not the alias, when you do things like where. However, order by is the only place, one of the only places anyway, that does allow this. The order by does allow us to write the rename, to write the alias for a column, instead of having to use the underlying column. I'm not going to explain why, but it's just worth noting that order by is slightly special in that respect. So that brings us to the end of order by. It's quite a quick one. Just to recap, we've seen that to sort our data, to sort our output, we need to write order by, followed by the columns that we want to sort by. We could specify department ID to make sure that it's always, the output is always in department ID order. And if we wanted to specify multiple columns, say group name and then department ID, we just write them both. And the order is significant here. If we write group by first, it's going to order by the group by column, group by name column first, and then by the department ID. We've also seen that by default these will be ordered in ascending order. If we want to change these to descending order, we just write DESC after the column name. I hope you have found this helpful, and we'll catch you in the next one.